Welcome back to the channel. If you are returning, welcome. If you are new here, I am the Blunt Reader, and this is going to be a reading to see whether or not you are the only one. Also to see if this is your life partner or if this is just a temporary situation. Please keep in mind that this is general, so it cannot and will not resonate with every single person watching this video. I am not taking personal readings at this time, but feel free to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at the Blunt Reader, where I post channeled messages as well as pick a card readings. This is a timeless reading, so whenever you come across this video, then it is meant for you to see it. With all of that being said, Scorpio, let's go ahead and get into your reading. What is the current energy surrounding? Okay. We have the grief and sadness. What y'all got going on, Scorpio? There's an energy of an ending, especially because grief and sadness is here, which is usually, you know, when something ends, you grieve over it. There's sadness because of this loss or this perceived loss. This is also the number 10. Tens talk about endings, but they also talk about new beginnings. So for some of you, there could definitely be an ending in your relationship that may lead to a new cycle. We'll see. Or it just may be completely over and done with. And if you are interested, this is the Price of Love Oracle deck. There's a link to where you can get yours down below in the description box. We're going to see what's going on though, Scorpio. What is... oh, I mean, do what you want to do. That's cool. We have the Knight of Pentacles. We have the Ace of Pentacles. What is the energy surrounding Scorpio and their person? We have the Tower. So the Tower, an ending. The Ace of Pentacles, a new beginning. Maybe something that is moving slowly. We have the Page of Cups at the bottom of the deck. This is an apology or an expression of love. Some sort of gesture that involves your emotion. The way that I am kind of reading this story is something happened with this Tower situation and this created the ending. This is possibly where the grief and sadness is coming from, because something ended, and maybe it ended unexpectedly. Maybe it ended and you weren't prepared for it, or the way that it ended, the way that things ended between you and this person really hurt. I feel like I said this in your monthly reading for February, where there could have been a lot of conflict between you and this person, and maybe you called it quits, were on the verge of calling it quits, but then you realize, like, we can work through this. Like that type of thing. That's kind of what I'm feeling here. With the Tower, it says that something definitely ended, but it doesn't necessarily feel like it's something that ended permanently. It's like that cycle ended and maybe you have to start over again. Maybe you have to start over and start over in a different way. Knight of Pentacles says maybe you need to, you know, go back to the beginning, go back to, you know, well, you can't go back to when you first met this person, but treat the situation as if you had just met one another, and maybe start building and developing a friendship and really getting to know each other and really peeling back those layers. And for you Scorpios, y'all got a lot of layers that y'all don't want to let people in on. So it kind of feels like that energy. Yes, something ended, but I don't necessarily feel like it's the end for good, at least not for all of you. We'll see though. Please clarify the Tower for Scorpio and their person. Six of Swords. Please clarify the Six of Swords. Three of Pentacles in reverse. Six of Pentacles. Queen of Wands. And the Sun. So you could be dealing with a fire sign, Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries. It looks like somebody feels in this connection that things weren't balanced. Like one person feels like they were putting in all of the work. Hell, maybe both of you feel like you were the only one putting in the work. Just because you feel that way, though, doesn't mean that that's what it is. So the Tower is the ending. The Six of Swords is you both or one of you moving away from this situation. Maybe because you feel like it was too much. Maybe because you feel like you're the only person putting in any work, any effort. And it's just like, fuck this, I'm leaving, because you're not really trying. But again, just because you feel that way doesn't necessarily mean that the person isn't trying. It could be that they're just not putting in effort in the same way that you are, or in a way that you recognize. The Three of Pentacles in reverse says that you stopped working, which makes sense because the Six of Swords is here. So you moved away. So naturally, you're no longer putting in any effort in this situation. But I do feel like it is a situation that fulfills you, a situation that makes you happy. It gives you some level of fulfillment and happiness, and it could be really beautiful. But for whatever reason, things just kind of took a left turn. And it's interesting that I'm looking at the candle and the fact that the flames seem to be very dim. Hell, I don't know why, but for me, it's like it's a message. Maybe the flame has been very dim in this relationship, and because essentially candles and the flame of a candle is used to provide light and darkness, there didn't seem to be much light in all of this darkness that may have been going on in this situation. So maybe there was a lot of conflict, maybe there was a lot of tension, maybe there was a lot of arguing, you not seeing eye to eye, you not being able to come to this common place of mutual understanding. Whatever the case may be, it's like the flame was very dim. It was almost non-existent. And instead of trying to remedy this and see how you can get the flame to burn brighter or burn bright again, somebody was just like, just put it out. Like, whatever, let's just put it out. But I kind of feel like that may be somebody's go-to solution when there's a problem. Instead of trying to figure out how to get back to this light, this happiness, this joy, this fulfillment, the person's remedy, their solution is just to leave. But that isn't always the solution that is necessary. Please clarify the Ace of Pentacles for Scorpio and their person. Five of Cups in reverse. Please clarify Four of Wands. Nine of Cups at the bottom of the deck. There goes that fulfillment. Four of Wands, Five of Cups in reverse, and the Ace of Pentacles. 10 of Pentacles, 9 of Cups. Like, what? You have fulfillment, you have happiness, you have a solid foundation. There's stability in this connection. I just feel like somebody's solution is always to exit, to leave, to run, instead of actually trying to resolve the issue, work together with this Three of Pentacles and come up with a solution. No, their response is always, there's a problem, and because I feel like the problem isn't being resolved, or it's not being resolved in the way that I want it to be resolved, I'ma just leave. That can't be your solution all the time, though. If you ever want to have a relationship, if every time there's an argument or a disagreement or something that you don't like, you leave, you're never going to be able to have a stable relationship. Not one that's going to last long term anyway. Because eventually somebody's going to get tired of you always being out the door the moment something happens. Relationships take work. And part of that work is resolving your issues, resolving the problems that you have in this connection. Please clarify the Knight of Pentacles, which is why it may be necessary to kind of go back and start things over and develop a friendship and really get to know one another, especially if this is a relatively new situation and you don't really fully know this person. Like if you've been talking to this person for less than a year Hell, if you've been talking to this person for less than 6 months, then you really don't know each other. And it's going to be a lot of this. A lot of conflict, a lot of getting to know one another. Look, it takes time. It takes time to get to know people. We have death at the bottom of the deck. So every time there's conflict, there's an ending with death here. Please clarify the Five of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles. Nine of Swords, Ace of Wands. And I feel like when you fight, when you argue, at least one of you, it like really bothers you. Because you don't want to argue. You don't want to fight. You want to be able to resolve this issue. But it's like every time something happens, like you're cutting this person off, you're leaving, you're blocking them, you shut down on them, something. And that bothers this person. Or it bothers you. However it goes. But I feel like this is definitely a very stable connection, or it could be a very stable connection if you learned how to kind of work out the kinks. Please clarify the Ace of Wands, the Nine of Swords, Five of Swords, and the Knight of Pentacles, Seven of Cups. Please clarify the Seven of Cups and the Ace of Wands, Six of Wands. We have the Three of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Six of Wands being about victory, success, recognition. Please clarify the Seven of Cups. Okay. We have the Six of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Eight of Wands. This is communication. Five of Wands. Eight of Pentacles. If you haven't been talking to this person, or if you've been talking to this person and it's just been arguments, or the responses have been very short and dry, I feel like there's definitely a need to have like an actual conversation, like a heart-to-heart conversation, because there seems to be some confusion here. And I don't even feel like it's being confused about how you feel for one another, but I feel like there are things that you need to talk about, maybe things from the past. But this Eight of Pentacles, like there are things that need to be worked on, and it feels like communication is one, but also how you handle conflict with this Five of Wands. Please clarify the Eight of Pentacles, Ten of Wands. Somebody could also be stressed, and that could also be creating conflicts in the relationship. But it could also be, again, that somebody feels like they're the only one trying. Or they feel like they're trying and their effort is not being recognized. Because, again, they may be trying, but it may not be in the way that you recognize. So it seems like they're not trying. Which then may create, even more conflict, because they're like, I'm trying, and you're like, no, you're not trying. And it's like, well, you never recognize when I do put forth effort. Like, communication needs to happen, actual effective communication, so that you learn to communicate with one another. You learn how one another communicates. That's why I feel like there's a need to really learn each other and take things slow in getting to know one another, uncovering all of these layers, because you don't really know each other. I mean, you may know things about each other, you may know facts about this person, they may know facts about you, but in terms of being in a relationship with this person, whether you just got in this relationship or you've been in this relationship for a while, people grow, people change, and you have to allow them to do that and kind of adapt to these changes, just like they have to adapt to the changes that you make over time. But it's really learning how to effectively communicate. For example, me personally, when I'm mad, when I'm upset, when I'm irritated, I don't want to talk when I'm in that energy, because I know me, and I know my attitude, and I know my mouth. I'm working on it, but I know me. So I know nothing is going to get resolved if I'm in that energy. So for me, I need my partner to understand, like, look, I'm mad. Don't talk to me right now. Let me go cool off. Let me go work some things out in my mind first. and then we can have this conversation and it can actually be effective. But if you're going to try to force me to talk about it right there in the moment because that's how you communicate, then it's not going to really work. It's not going to be effective. We're not going to come to a solution because you want to talk about it right now and I don't want to talk about it right now because I'm mad. So it's like a compromise would be like, okay, can you give me 5 minutes to calm down, get my thoughts together, see if what I'm mad about is even something that I need to be mad about, and then we can have this conversation and come up with a solution. Like, it's that type of thing, because not everybody communicates the same way. Some people like talking on the phone, some people like talking face to face, some people like sending text messages. You have to learn how to communicate with one another, and you have to learn how people receive information. You know, sometimes I feel like I need to tell my partner, like, look, we need to do a PowerPoint presentation because clearly you don't be listening to me when I talk. But, you know, you got to figure out what works and what doesn't work. And that takes time. And you can't be so quick to run out at the first sign of trouble or, you know, call it quits because you had an argument. You don't argue. That's just, I mean, there's always going to be disagreements. But it's how you resolve those disagreements that matters. So I did that whole video and completely forgot to answer the questions. But is there anybody else? Are you the only one? Yes, you are the only one. I don't feel like this person is at all concerned with anybody else. Is this somebody that you can be with long term? I do feel like I answered that, but yes, it is somebody that you can be with long term. So my bad, y'all. I got caught up in the reading and forgot to answer the questions, but there you go. So there you have it, Scorpio. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I greatly appreciate it. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, turn on your post notification so that when I post a new video, you are notified. And I'll talk to y'all next time.